Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Hunter Foreman, and today, back on the channel for a second time, this man reps California to the fullest. This man has made great music with some of the best artists in the world. But most importantly, I'm proud to call this man my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Kid Money is back on the program. What's going on, kid?
My brother, you know, another day chasing nothing but success, baby.
That's what I like to hear. Man, now, the last time you was on this podcast, you had just put out Voices, which was a three-song EP, just kind of a preview of what is to come. Since then, you've put out Intent 1 and you've put out Intent 2. We're going to talk about that.
That's right.
We're going to talk about that in just a second. But what I want to talk about is Lions League. I feel like we didn't get a chance to really speak about what Lions League really means. So for the people, we all know Lions League is your label, is your brand, it is what you represent. But if you could, dive a little bit more deeper and tell the people what Lions League really is.
Lions League is something I created. It's a record label. It's a hub, actually. It's called Lions League Inc. now.
Okay.
And I pushed the Lions League Inc. because I wanted to put everything underneath one hub. Lions League Cloth is the merchandise and clothing side of everything, and then Lions League Records is the music side. But I have so many other big ideas of the plans, places I want to elevate it to, and other ventures that I want to go into underneath that same name and under the umbrella of it. And the main point of it all was giving people a chance to fully be themselves without judgment, and to be as creative and be as daring, as creative as they want to be without any sort of judgment, and creating your own cool, like being the king of your own. That's the whole general concept of Lions League. The lion, I'm a Leo. Obviously, my birthday was a few days ago, August 2nd.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's like being a lion, of course, people think king of the jungle, right? But we all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different walks of life. So Lions League is you representing yourself to the fullest while being attached to something. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It's a place where people can come, where they can feel free, feel like they can rep, feel like they can claim. Because at the end of the day, the bottom line is you're doing that shit for you and your future and the betterment of everything. Like, I would never, when I sign artists, I'm never going to put them in a situation where it's like, you just sign it here and I don't ever want you to elevate. It's one of those things is, no, I'm signing you here so you can know how to go run your own business. You know what I mean? Like, be the king of your own, do your own shit. I don't want to lock you up and keep you stuck in a contract. The goal for me isn't to always make money off of other people's hard work. That's not the goal. You know what I mean?
You don't hear that a lot either.
Yeah, like, I'm not trying to make a buck off of other people's hard work. I like to work hard too, and I like to put energy and effort into things too, and I know what goes into all that stuff. And those people should be compensated just as well as the other people on the other end of the table. You know what I mean? So Lions League is a chance for people to be the king of their own, create their own cool, create their own gangster, create their own everything, and be that, and not have to worry about to think anybody is going to help them. They can't do this or they can't do that. And having a comfortable place to go and comfortable minds to be around that won't judge you, but always keep it real with you for the betterment of stuff,
Yes, sir. Now, when I first heard you, like we're gonna go back to like little parts of the last time we spoke. The first time I heard you was the Grinding All My Life verse, and I was like, and even though you just had that small part. And I was just like, okay. And then I decided to basically go through the whole HS87 at the time, that whole roster. You know what I'm saying? I went through that whole, I went through everybody and listened to everybody's material. From B-Mac to Queen to Audio Push to even Hit Boys on solo stuff. And what stood out about you was there was no transparency. What you saw is what, you know what I'm saying? There was what you saw is what you got. You know what I'm saying? Like you stuck to your guns. Like I could easily now that I'm way more familiar with your material, I can actually be like, okay, this is a Kid Money song. Like this isn't a this isn't like, this doesn't sound like nobody. This doesn't, this
Right.
doesn't, you don't follow any trends. Like, you stick to your guns, and I hold, like, for real, like, respect that about you, because, a lot of people who get that kind of big look or kind of that big cosign, they'll start switching up their sound a little bit. And it's like, that didn't get you to the dance. That didn't bring you to where you are, to where you were. And, you got fans that are like, oh, like, I only like their old stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see that happening for you. Like, I don't see, like, true Kid Money fans, like, saying, like, oh, man, I like his old stuff. No, I like his old stuff, his new stuff, his in-between stuff, like, all of that. Like, I like his features and everything. When I hear stuff like Intent and Intent 2, I was like, this sounds like something Kent would do. This doesn't sound like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, it's like you did. I mean, of course, you got connections, but you don't let those connections influence on the material that you do, if that makes sense.
Right.
And,
that makes a lot of sense.
And I want to talk about Intent 1. We're gonna go in order here. We're gonna go from Intent 1 to Intent 2, and then talk about the future stuff that you got going on. When you started this Intent series, here comes the joke. What was your intentions to do it? Like, what made you go for? What made you, want to do these EPs?
It was me and Hes Right sitting down. We had, before we started, Hes Right executive producing the whole Intent series.
Mm-hmm.
Just like he said, Crown. That's like something, the same way like Becoming is like something me and Hit Boy started way back when. So like Intent was something where me and Hes started. We sat down, we had conversations for a few days. Like, we like to do that before we even create any type of music. So while we were sitting down, we were just going over certain things. We were talking about Intent and people doing things and karma and different things like that. And people don't understand the difference between intent when they speak about karma, when they think about the future. Like, it doesn't necessarily matter what you do. It's about the reasoning behind why you did what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Or you did what you did.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or why you do what you do at the same time. So I was expressing that to people. So when you hear a song like the intro,
yes,
before, you know what I mean? It's like the intent.
That's my joint.
Song.
That's my joint.
Oh, appreciate that.
That's my joint.
That. The intent behind that record is like really going, I need to distance myself from other people and sometimes distance myself from the things that I've adapted from those other people or traits, the things I may have gotten from those people. Because no matter who you hang around, you're going to adapt certain personality traits the same way they're going to adapt your personality traits.
Talk.
It just happens.
Talk.
You know what I mean? That's what shit just happens, and it's like you can't control it. It's just part of human behavior, emotions, and things like that. So, as far as like sometimes you have to get away from other people, you have to get away from yourself. You know what I mean? You have to get away from what you think is solid and what you've grown to know or what you think is right. Because growth is the constant. It's the only constant we have in life is growth.
Absolutely.
Growing, you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
That's literally the only constant that we have. There's going to be nothing else in your life that you can pinpoint that's going to be like, this is going to happen over and over and over and over again. This is guaranteed to happen. You're going to keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
So that has to be an internal thing just as much as it's a physical thing. So it's like getting away from yourself, you know what I'm saying, and above the law. It's like people that be in the street.
Coasting.
They're not out there trying to harm anybody. You know what I mean? Like, they out there trying to just get a buck so they can go home and feed their family just like everybody else. Unfortunately, in this world that we live in, no matter how many think pieces are written or who says what or how people would like to operate or view the world, color is a real thing.
Facts.
And being incarcerated and getting out is a real thing.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like, and having to feed your family is a real thing. Like, what makes somebody that lives in the suburbs or lives in a big mansion feel like they can criticize another person who has to go out and figure out a way to feed their family just the way you have to go out and figure out a way to feed your family?
Talk,
sitting in a corporate office, so the people that work for you weren't receiving even 2% of the profit that they're actually creating for you.
Jeez,
you feel what I'm saying? So you're technically robbing these people and keeping them in a situation where they can't necessarily grow and they struggling to make ends meet. But this other person on this other end of the spectrum didn't even get a chance to get in that building to sit there to earn a paycheck. So if they have to go out to figure out a way to survive day by day, you can't judge them. The intent isn't to go out and hurt people. The intent behind it is to get home and do for your family, just like the next man wants to do. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So all these different things, like that was the whole mindset behind going into Intent, how we did part one. It was more so to give people that game and give people that knowledge. And then part two, when we got to part two, it was more so giving everybody that same knowledge, but in the street sense, just a little bit more aggressive. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, sir.
And let people know, and still opening up, and still keeping it me and us, and keeping it in that same vein.
Mm-hmm.
But also letting people know, like, life is real.
Facts.
This shit don't stop. Like, it doesn't stop for anybody. It's very real. And so we all have to go through every day these situations and things we have to go through every day. Like, do it for you. You know what I mean? Like, that record, the producer of that record is somebody who like, looked up to it before his fans. And I never knew who he was like that. This kid makes incredible beats to the point where he's on a project and we working together. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, the whole do it for you and the whole energy behind it and the whole energy behind a bunch of those records that are on there and a bunch of the records we've been doing for Intent and even part 3 that's coming out soon.
Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, you know.
We're going to talk about that.
No, I got time, baby. I got time. I'm enjoying the fact that it was nothing crazy.
Well, listen, man. I'm going to tell you why B-Far and Bubba Law both my joints from a personal standpoint. This may be not the same answer that you get from, you know, other fans that speak to you about your music, but this is why, like, I liked B-Far. First things first, I think I told you this. I like when I experience a song, the first thing I want to do is drive. That's the first thing I want to do. I can't drive and listen to a whole album because I ain't trying to waste my gas like that. But if I find 2 or 3 songs from that album that I can just ride out to, man, this is gonna be added into the rotation. Now, B-Far, and you gonna like me because I point this out. You had a Mad Villain sample in there.
Yeah.
You had the Mad Villain. You had the Mad Villain sample in there, the accordion. Now, I've heard multiple songs use that song as a sample. For example, Sir Michael Rock's Banco used it for Memo on his last solo album. He used
it on his outro.
Yes, and I was kind of like, I just kind of was listening to it and I was like, man, like, who else can like really like use this sample? Because to me it sounds like a really interesting sample to use. Like it's an accordion. It's an accordion that MF Doom and Madlib kind of made together, and it's like people are like, of course that's one of the most like heavily sampled albums like I've ever heard too. That Mad Villainy. So when I heard you using that sample, I got excited because I was like, okay, yeah, there we go. Yes. And then it gets into, and then it kind of like the tempo kind of switches as you get into your verse. And I was like, yes. And then, hope I'm pronouncing this right. Nika, comes in and delivers, great vocals. I was like, this is a great song. I loved it right off the bat. Like I was like, I actually ran it back a few more times before I listened to the rest of the album. And then Above the Law, man, I love listening to that while I'm on the job. Like when I like have to go pick up like purchase orders and stuff. I usually, that's one of the go-to songs that I pop in as I ride out, kind of driving through like Dallas on probably like at 11 in the afternoon maybe,
right.
And like right. just chilling. And like the thing is with you is that I know you got them turn up records in you, but I don't think it's the specific time for you to release those, because you're just releasing music that you can just kind of listen to and just chill at the house, which is, fine with me, because that's kind of the music that I like to listen to. Like, you know what I'm saying? Instead of me listening to DNA and Humble, I'd rather listen to Duckworth, if you catch my drift, what I'm saying.
Right.
So this EP, you hit a home run. I liked it from Nika to Killing It to Preston Harris, and to the wonderful Tish Hyman. Like, you did your thing. Like, and I remember you telling me I remember you telling me you gonna like this. I was like, all right. I said, all right, dude. And then you send me it, and I'm like, yeah, you was right. I listened to it. I ran it back probably twice, like the whole EP probably twice, and I was like, yeah. Ken, you got one with this one. I like this one.
Man, I appreciate that. Man, Like, we put a lot of hard work in and trying and all this, and we make sure we try to go over all the intricacies and what's being said. Even the distance, the joint with Preston on there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's written doing so for us men. Like, when you listen to it, it's more progressive than anything, because it's a story. For the most part, it's a story and growth in a relationship. Like, you're going to go through those patches, you go through this, you go through that, you know what I mean? And then Preston, the hook he originally sent over for it, was actually a much longer hook.
Oh, okay.
But we took out a lot of the words because we just wanted to capture and keep that same vibe. So I still have that hook. It was an incredible hook. Not saying the hook wasn't amazing, it couldn't have been on there. But sometimes you just need certain things that are going to sit in there and keep that same energy and keep that same vibe to just carry everything on, so everything transitions the right way smoothly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, I mean, putting it together and all that, we try to cover all the basics, and we try to cover everything and make sure we get the right type of features. Tish came through and killed it.
She always kills it, bro.
She's amazing.
She is incredible, man.
Incredible human being, incredible artist. She, every time we call her, she's always there. She's always showing love. We always show her love. Tish is definitely an incredible person, all around from inside out. So, she came through, did her thing, knocked it out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we really take the time and we try to make sure everything makes sense. We don't like to just go create music. That's that bullshit. Like, especially when I'm creating music, I like to make sure everything makes sense. I like to make sure the transitions is right. We take days. Me and Hes will sit apart. We'll take days and we'll just play the project in different orders.
That's
I think it
crazy.
should go like this. I think it should go like this. What you think about this? Let's put this here. Well, let's put this here for this reason. Let's put this here. You know what I mean? So It's not just sitting back, even when it's a 5-song EP. So I like to take the time to really put those details into it and make sure. And I'm glad it's appreciated. You know what I mean? I really appreciate that. Just appreciate it because we take a lot of time doing things like that. Most things people skip over nowadays. Niggas just do songs and throw them shits on the disc and be like, here it goes.
Can we now? That actually brings up a really good point. Before we get into the second Intent EP, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about sequencing because on my Astro World album review, which is just got uploaded as of now, and I talked about how Astro World was sequenced very well, and the transitions were nice and smooth, and how Travis really took the amusement park theme, which Astro World was an amusement park in Houston, and it was torn down. And throughout the album, he has like different beat changes and stuff. It's like you're literally going on a musical roller coaster. So and I get mad at people, especially people that are younger than me. Yes, I'm only 21. Yeah, I'm still I have these old head tendencies sometimes. I get mad at people who take albums and just hit shuffle when they listen to them.
Yeah.
I hate that. Like, I have a huge problem with that because it's like, oh, that means that the artist is sequencing doesn't mean anything to you. Like, I guarantee you the sequencing is some of the most important, it's one of the most important parts of making a project. How it should go from 1 to 9 or 1 to 17 or 1 to 25. however many songs it is. But you just gonna just hit shuffle on it anyway. So that just kind of makes it like you don't care about the the artistry and the hard work. So what's your take on that? Like, what is your how do you feel about how important is sequencing of a project? Like how do you feel about that?
What you just said is actually what you just said is the most important narrative, because that is why music is in the state it is now.
Okay.
It's not because the artists now are adapting to the fans because of how fast fans lose interest. Like even big artists who are solidified as legends in this game, they put out some music and then a week later people are like, what else you got?
See, I can't.
You know what I mean?
I don't like when artists even drop 2 albums in a year. Like I remember Rick Ross dropped 2 albums in a year, and I was like, Ross, you did a good job. It was the same year as Mastermind, the whole Devil Is a Lie, that album. He dropped Hood Billionaire.
Some of that,
Go ahead.
Some of that you have to attest to. Ross was playing the game. He was ready to get out of his Def Jam situation. So
okay, gotcha.
You don't want to sit somewhere for another year when you don't have to. You just put out 2 albums real quick and get out of your situation. So some of it is business when you see artists like that do things like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's them not wanting to be tied into that, so they can be their true creative selves the way they want to be. So I mean, now we live in a time where the fans are almost you guys dictate everything. Not even now, forever the fans dictate everything. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to buy the merchandise. You have to stream it. You have to go get the CD. You know what I mean? Like, y'all are the ones who buy the ticket to the show. You're watching the artist. So without y'all, there is no business for the artist to have. Right? So
exactly.
You look at it that way, and you have fans who get these albums, and instead of letting them play from 1 to 12 or 15 or 10 or whatever the album, however long it may be, they're going, oh, this has been on for 30 seconds. Let me hit skip. It's been on for this long. Let me hit skip. Let me just put it on shuffle. I'm just going to skim through and see if I like this beat and put it on here. It's like, nah, that's how motherfuckers miss out on songs that's been out for a while, and then they go back like, damn, I ain't never heard that. It was on this album. Oh, it was? I never even
That's why I hate having that conversation, man. Like, I remember having a conversation with one of my friends. He's younger than me, and he was telling me about I had sent him a Freddie Gibbs album. Shout out to Freddie Gibbs. I sent him. It wasn't this last one. It was Shadow of a Doubt. I sent him that, and I told him, I said, man, listen to this album. I think you'll like this album. He's like, bet. He's like, I'll let you know what I like. He's like, I'll let you know as I go through. Meanwhile, I'm already had listened to the whole album, 1 to 17, in order. So I texted him probably like 5 minutes, 10 minutes later. And I said, what you think about the album? He's on track 16. And I'm like, bro, it's been 5 minutes. How you get all the way to track 16? He's like, oh, I'm shuffling it. I'm like, man, come on. You can't be doing that.
Which is why you see artists like Drake put out a playlist. If he understands that these kids and that camp understands that these kids get it and all they do is hit shuffle now. All they do is play the mixed order anyway. So we don't necessarily have to put this in order. Let's call it a playlist, throw it out there, and then see what people say. And then see how this picks up. And now that's what you have people trying to do. They want to do playlists. They want to do that. Like the whole playlist scene, people trying to come up with playlists kind of ruin that. That's why people put things on shuffle and kind of ruin sequencing for a lot of things. But a lot of it stay true to it. Like Kendrick Lamar stays true to his sequencing.
Mm-hmm.
Stays true to his sequencing when he's doing his album. Like there's a difference between album Drake and feature Drake, and you have to be that versatile.
Like mixtape Wayne and album Wayne.
You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't sound like your mixtape shouldn't sound like your features or your EP shouldn't sound like the feature sound, and neither one of them should sound anything like your album.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to how you approach it, so it's like you have to be that well-rounded. Like even Jay-Z, all these different artists, like all the people that we love and we admire and we look at, and even up and coming, like some up and coming artists now. That's a discouraging thing to them. It's the fact that I'm gonna put in all this hard work, put out this project, and a week and a half later, people gonna want more, and they're not even gonna sit down and take the time to listen to it from top to bottom the same way I put it out to them. So then you have people just doing weird shit. and then feel like everything becomes a joke on the internet. But it's like there's so many creative people out here. We could have so much creative shit going on. People actually gave things an actual chance and let things ride out just play. But I also understand mood has a lot to do with everything too.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So if the artist puts out a project and then the fan is just not in the mood that day to hear that type of shit, they're not going to appreciate it that day to drop the same way everybody else is listening to it. They might later, when they're in a certain mood and hear a certain setting, like, oh, I appreciate this, but who knows when that's going to be? That might be 2 years down the line. That happens all the time.
See, my thing with that is, when Nas dropped Nasir, right, this year, when Nas dropped Nasir, I listened to the first song, and I was angry. I was like, what? I was like, why is Nas like, you know, because this Nas's album was a part of the the Kanye West 5 albums, 5 weeks kind of thing, you know? And I was, listening to it, and I was just like, okay, this first song is not good, but I'm like, okay, maybe there's a reason why this is the first song. You know what I'm saying? Maybe there's a reason why he put this song first. And then the rest of the album I absolutely love. From Cops Shot the Kid to the song with the dream that I'm losing actually the name of. What I mean by that is that I somewhat now understand. It was Adam and Eve. That was the song that I was talking about when I got to that one. I understand now why certain songs are like why. And you may think track 8 should be in number 3 spot, but you also may think the last song should be the first song. You know what I'm saying? Like you may think like certain songs should start off the album. Like when I heard If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. I feel like Legend should have ended the album. I don't think it should have started the album. I think it should have ended the album. But the more I listen to it, the more I understand, like, oh, okay, this is why it started this way, to create this mood instead of because if he would have put it first or if he would have put it last, it would have created a different mood for the whole entire album. So it makes sense.
And
go ahead.
A step further than that, not to cut you off, but a step further than that is you have to also remember Drake actually cares about the shit he's saying on his album.
Absolutely.
When he's doing things like that. So when you listen to the first words and the first few bars of that song, it makes sense why that song is the first song on there.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, okay, this is why it's the first song on the album. That's what I mean by people don't listen. Like, they don't, like, not you, but I'm saying other people, they don't listen. So they would be sitting there and they would be going, oh, well, I would put this here. And you see these people write these think pieces. It's like for the creative, and me thinking like a creative, it's like, nah, listen to what he's saying. That's why we make an album. We do this shit for you to listen to the beat, motherfucker.
I like it.
Yeah, but we have, you know what I mean? Like, for the rapper, when you asking the artist, it's different. You got to ask producers different questions than people ask artists.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Like the artist didn't do this shit. When you listen to an artist project, and people are tweeting the artist or asking the artist these questions in interviews, that shit should be geared towards more. You should be listening more for why did you say this?
Oh, okay.
Where all the should be geared, all the sequencing shit in the album should be answered by mostly the producer and the artist,
and or the engineer, or the engineer.
Right.
Yeah.
And or actually, technically, whoever executive produced the album, because that's who pretty much oversaw everything.
So, if we're talking, if you're reading this, it's too late. You should talk to probably like Boy Wonder, probably, or 40. That they can answer. Yes. Well, Boy Wonder did executive produce. If you're reading this, it's too late because there's a lot of Boy Wonder tracks on there, a lot of produced tracks on there. But you're absolutely right. I think 40 would absolutely answer that question a lot better because it's like that's Drake's right hand man, literally.
Right. He's pretty literally an extension of Drake.
Exactly. Like basically, and what I'm thinking is this: is that Hes Banga is like your 40, kind of.
Right.
And
The engineers, these producers, he understands the sound.
yeah, he understands what you want better than any other producer that's gonna walk, who's gonna walk into your session or is trying to, work with you. That's why, like, I like Hes Banga. Like the work he's done with Audio Push. Like I'm like, wow. Like there's a couple of beats on there that I'm like, man, his production is amazing. Big shout out to him as well. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he's a really good producer. He's very underrated as well. But I want to go back to we were talking about Tish Hyman, right, and about how great she is. The moment I became a fan of Tish Hyman was when I heard her on Too Bad by Dom Kennedy. When I heard her on that I was like, there was nobody that could sing that hook other than her. Like you couldn't get somebody else. You couldn't get literally her tone, her vocal projection, all of that just kind of like fits that song. And I just wanted to give credit where credit is due when talking about that, because it's like again, Tish doesn't get enough recognition. She's worked with Ty Dolla $ign. She's worked with Dom. She's worked with countless others that that for the life of me I just really can't remember. But she's incredible too.
Nah, definitely, she's been amazing. That's the thing about this, and that's what I mean by a lot of people like, and people know she's amazing. And I think for creators like this, and like myself and a lot of other creative people like that, we're fine. Well, not fine with, of course, we all, have these, we all have our aspirations and dreams and things we want to accomplish, but we are fine in a general sense with knowing that other creatives like to be around us that are doing those type of things that people dwell, you know what I'm saying, that people like so much, because for us, it's like we work with these people all the time.
Yes.
And this works with these people all the time. So it's not necessarily even a bad thing, because you're pretty much almost helping shape all the different sounds, different things that are going on without having to deal with a lot of stress.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And I think that's like the illest part about it all. So Fish definitely deserves way more credit. A lot of people out here sleep on her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why, but I don't understand why they sleep the way they do, but it's how the game goes sometimes. You can't call it.
Yeah, man.
We can't call it, but it's like I said, the fans, all that shit comes back to one thing: the fans, the people dictate this shit. And when you start appreciating people that are more creative, and they start really pulling the creatives in instead of trying to play that whole, how can you get the most views and hit shit, because everything is streaming now, and you gotta, you know what I'm saying? And they gotta make sure they get a certain amount of streaming this contract, and that's like, nah, fuck all that, man. That's what people. This is exactly the shit that people in the '90s and all that different shit in the '80s and '70s was fighting to not have to do. They have to answer to a bunch of motherfuckers who dictate what they got to do within their own culture and how they ask questions, who they put on, and what they like, because they got to keep getting a check, or they have to keep their job somewhere. Like motherfuckers was literally getting jobs at radio stations back in the day and playing what the fuck they wanted, knowing they could lose their job for it, for breaking that record.
Absolutely.
And then becoming an A&R somewhere else, and then actually signing and actually be able to do something to get their voices out there and really get them shit heard. Like, they took them risks, and they did that. It was like, man, fuck your check. You gonna figure it out. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
you
sir.
Figure it out for you. So that's how, like, the game was played before, and these people went through all that. People to do shit like this, like, everybody just wound out. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, it's the craziest part. And people dictate that shit. Like, people have to start listening to what it is they like and what they want. Stop playing that social media game of who can tell the funniest joke, or who can get the artist to reach them and all that other shit. You don't be giving a fuck.
I don't like that. I don't like playing that game either. I really don't. Like, I'm really big into battle rap, and you know what I'm saying? I know I have spoke to a lot of battle rappers, both top tier and up and coming, and I will always show love to them if they say a hot bar or had a hot performance or something like that. Same thing with mainstream rappers. Like earlier today, like I had just got done listening to the new Trippie Redd album, and I just basically just sent out like, "Yo, shout out to Trippie Redd. This album's dope." Do I expect him to retweet that or even see it? No, absolutely not. I just wanted to put that out in the universe.
The difference between you and everybody else is though that you actually want to do. You went to go listen.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You went to go listen and then you tweet what you thought.
Exactly.
And you didn't expect that. People don't do that. They not even listening. They just watch other people tweet and they want to tweet shit to see if they can get retweeted. They don't really care. They're not listening.
It's not I don't think it's a cool thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? This whole, it's what it is. We're in the clout chasing era. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like that. I don't like being in the clout chasing era. Like, I want to just be me. And if somebody, if somebody likes what I do, then somebody likes what I do. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I do this YouTube stuff not to chase views. I do it because it's fun for me. You know what I'm saying? If I get my message across, you know what I'm saying? Whether one person sees it or 1,000 people see it, that doesn't matter to me. It's just about getting my message out there and getting it out to the public so that people can see, like, oh, this kid's doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I stand for. That's what I'm all about. But I want to get into this second Intent EP, which it took me a while to figure out where you were going with this certain direction because it is less tracks. You got Hit Boy as a feature on there, and if I'm not mistaken, that specific song was not produced by Hes Bang. It was produced by Levante.
Yeah, Levante. The kid I was telling you about that was like, he was like a fan from way before, and I never knew he made such incredible beats.
Yes.
Selling places. Yeah.
So, what was your meaning behind the second one? Knowing that you just put out the first one and everybody's starting to love it, and it's like, okay, how are we going to approach the second one? How did you approach the second one?
Man, when we did second Intent, like I said, it was the main goal for us was to still keep it us, but like a little bit more aggressive, like the intent behind what you like want to do. Like if you really, really listen to the song, the intent behind it is like, what are you really chasing?
Yes, exactly. First song's called Wannabe.
Like what is it that you want to do? And Be Free is one of those songs where it's just really just telling people, be free, be you. Like at the end of the day, no matter what you say, what you do, what happens, whoever does what, whoever says what about you, you still got to do you. And you gotta be free, be free, be you. Like no matter, nothing can affect you out here unless you let it. And that's the whole premise behind that song. And do it for you with Hit Boy, and do it for you with Hit Boy on there. Like I said, that's more than songs where it's for the people. It's for people where you can play, let it play on low, play it, pick out, play it somewhere, and look at the people that you actually do it for.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like people that you wake up and then it's one of the, like everything was really direct and straight to the point, but we just made it just a tad bit more aggressive and then ugly with the same type of way. Like it was letting people know like it's ugly out here. Like people going through shit. And there's a lot of shit that even goes on in the business. That's crazy. That, you know what I'm saying? That you'll never know and people will never see. And you know what I'm saying? But these are things that I've seen before and we've been through this. You know what I mean? We've been through that. We've seen this. We know what happens when this happens. So it's like it's ugly out here when you're observing other people who don't know how things work go through it, but they too hard-headed to want to even take any advice, even if you was to give it to them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's the whole approach behind that. And then Huddle Up was one of those things where we was, damn, should we keep playing? Huddle Up was one of those things where it was like one of those songs and things where we were sitting down. It was like the beat was just so hard. And you got to talk your shit for a minute. And when you get a little ahead of yourself and the ego starts to creep up and you got to pull back and you got to huddle up. It's not about huddling up with a bunch of people, but huddle up means collective thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I just got to huddle up real quick. I got to get my mind together and figure out what's going on, and really scope everything out for what it is. So, I mean, all of that transition, when you hear how part 3 comes together with it, it shows how the whole intent of everything flows with the whole, you know what I mean?
Now,
and the crazy part was, and this actually part 2 got way more love than part 1 got.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And to be completely honest and not and to keep it a buck with you, I love, Intent 1 better than Intent 2. That's just me. That's just my personal. That's just my personal.
I completely respect it.
Like,
that's why I fuck with you, because you have honest opinions, and I love that.
Yeah,
and
like
conversation shouldn't go any other way.
Exactly. Like, and speaking of, what I'm saying, sequels. I wanna go through a couple of sequels with you, and what do you think? Which one was the sequel better? Or was the original better? And what I'm saying, we'll talk about them. I got 3 of them for you, so I'm gonna just throw these at you. Blueprint 1 or Blueprint 2?
Blueprint 1.
Easy.
I'm not even gonna do no plan.
Wow, that was quick. Okay, all right. I'm gonna agree with you on that. But I'm gonna slightly edge it to Blueprint, and I'm gonna tell you why. To Blueprint 1, and I'm gonna tell you why. Blueprint 1 to me was literally like listening to like what's the word I'm looking for? It's like listening to it's like listening to a story. Like, you can play that album from 1 to 15. I think that's how many songs are on that album. You can play that album from 1, to 15 throughout your whole day, and I think every song at one point will fit the mood of the part of your day, whatever you do. Basically, you can listen to that album all day. And not.
That's why that's my favorite album ever.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow, man! I really didn't expect that to be your favorite album. Okay, I would
ever because that album is literally the rule book to the game.
Facts.
The music business is literally the rule book to the street. It's literally the rule book to your everyday life. It was at a time, it came out and did well at a time when tragedy struck.
Yes.
And still connected.
01. This is around when 9/11 came out, or not 9/11 came out. 9/11 happened. Yeah, bro. Like when
I think they dropped the same day, if I'm not mistaken.
Because like I said, I'm only 21. So, but when I fell in love with hip hop, which was my sophomore year of high school, and all I would listen to, literally, bro, like being dead serious, all I would listen to was Wu-Tang, Mac Miller, Dom Kennedy, and Currency throughout my entire and Joey Badass and throughout my whole entire high school career at every time. Throw a little bit of Kid Money in there just for throw it a little bit in the rotation. I was actually listening to that's actually I think when I discovered Crown too. No, excuse me, Eyes Wide Shut. I'm wrong. Eyes Wide Shut. That's what it was. When I went back sophomore year, I did everything research. Anything about hip hop, I read it. I went back into the 90s and listened to all the classic albums. And when I came across Blueprint 1, I remember having it as a kid, but I wasn't able to listen to it I think because it actually really wasn't mine. I think it was my cousin's. I only listened to it once. When I heard Heart of the City, I knew that album was special. When I heard Heart of the City, I was like, wow. That's that song, man. What? That goes to me. That's easily one of my top 10 favorite songs of all time. Heart of the City by Jay-Z is wow.
It's such a arrogant, intelligent, yet fuck all y'all album.
Exactly.
It was one of those albums where he was like, at the end of the day, I know who I am. I know ain't none of y'all better than me, and ain't nobody gonna tell me that y'all are better than me. And I'm not even gonna entertain your arguments of anything that you would have to say of who's doing what in this rap game, because I know what I've done and what I'm continuously doing. here at this moment, and I know what I'm building. And he literally gave people the rule book to it. He gave you the rule book to build Rock Nation.
He gave you the game, like, to be completely up. He gave you the game.
Think about it. Look at what Rock Nation is. Look at what Rock Nation is, and think about the blueprint and what he was rapping about.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And think about what Rock Nation turned into, because this is the same person who took a job for years at Def Jam that didn't need to as the president.
Facts.
Just to learn how the game went from the inside out. That's what you do when you want to be a boss, or when you're a boss. You have to learn it, and you don't mind getting your hands dirty. You want to learn it from the inside out.
Facts.
Like, you can't maximize and treat people right and do it your way if you don't learn how the shit really goes, because all you've ever dealt with is your independent label and communicating with these people on a certain level. But being inside of their building and office every single day and seeing how they actually treat everybody on the roster and make everything move in certain ways, to be able to see what you do like and what you don't like, to build your own shit, was the rule book. Show them how to move in a room full of coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's exactly literally what it was. Like, never change at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what happens, I'm never going to change. I'm still going to be the same me. Like I'm still going to be Jay from the Block. You know, Jay-Z don't walk around with security.
I did not know that.
With him when Beyonce was. He only got security with him when Beyonce with him. People think Hov walk around with a bunch of security. You catch that nigga in New York strolling by himself.
Chilling.
And you're not going to approach him or do nothing crazy because he's garnered that respect. And like you said, when you keep that same consistency in the music, and you see this person and you see how they move and they operate in general, and you like, oh yeah, that's not somebody I would run up on trying to try like that. I respect a walking legend down the street.
Big.
What's up, my nigga? Keep doing your thing.
Exactly.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't, and it's none of that because he don't even rap about none of that. He's not rapping about bang, bang, shoot 'em up shit. He's telling you how to maneuver through the streets. If you want to have all that energy around you with different people with pistols all the time, guess what's going to happen? People with pistols are going to try you.
Facts.
Certain motherfuckers get turned on by that. He letting you know, get out here and get your money and make sure nobody treating you wrong in the business sense and taking advantage of you, and feed your people. And keep your people close and build something for yourself. Don't feed into the machine. Even private conversations with them. The whole general concept behind it is don't feed into the machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, that's how we built what we built. You don't feed into the machine. You don't let motherfuckers tell you what's cool. You don't let motherfuckers take you out of your element and have you switch up some shit that you know is you. And that could work. Like, and that's what a lot of people do. They let people get in their head. But then when you look at it, the people that don't feed the machine are the most successful. You know what I mean? Like, you think motherfuckers want to see Kendrick on stage in handcuffs and a bunch of people and showing that imagery of this was going on in America every day? They don't want to see that. But he doesn't feed the machine. He does what the fuck he wants to do. And you're not going to tell him nothing. And the fans are still going to respond how they want to respond. And guess what you have to do, Granny? You got to put this motherfucker on stage. And you going to figure
Talk, kid. Talk. Now, you said easily, but do you still, like some of the material off of Blueprint 2?
Blueprint 2, yeah, I like some of the songs. Like, I Did It My Way was my shit.
Poppin' Tags is my joint off of that one, though.
That's a jiggy joint.
Yeah.
A Dream was my shit. What else was on there?
I love the intro on this album. I love the intro on this album. The Bounce. The Bounce was on here.
Hold on. I'm going to find this right now because I got to remember the name of it. I was just listening to this the other day. It was I Did It My Way. It was A Dream. Damn, what was another shit?
The fact he had Lenny Kravitz on this album, though. The fact that he had Lenny Kravitz on this album, though.
Yeah, that was nuts. On Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses was my shit. Meet the Parents is a classic. It's a rap. It was a pure rap, like, classic forever. A lot of people would probably agree if they went back to go listen to it, but Meet the Parents is an amazing song. That, like, how it's rapped, that whole storyline is something I've never heard before. And then
Dr. Dre and Rakim on the same song.
The Watcher was my shit. Nigga Please was my shit. Hovey Baby was my shit. What was it? The Bounce was my shit. I Didn't Care for the You Don't Know remix. Somehow, Some Way was my shit with Beanie and Scarface.
The Blueprint is just a classic album trilogy to me. I like Blueprint 3 as well.
I like Blueprint 3 was hard. That was actually my first time ever going to a Jay-Z concert.
Was during the Blueprint?
The Blueprint.
Okay.
Blueprint 3 tour, and it was crazy. Like, the shit was nuts. Felt like just groupies. So Ethiopia, who's like the head up at Universal Records, amazing woman, always showed us love. She gave me and Hit Boy tickets. He called us up to like by the Staples Center one day, and we was already in the area in session. So I think you heard of Amir Obey? Have you heard of a kid named Amir Obey? He's he wrote that Star 6-7 on the If You Read This It's Too Late record.
Oh, okay.
He wrote that record.
Okay.
But his name used to be Freshie Does It. He used to be signed Atlantic Records and all that back then. So I think I had a session with him. He was in there doing the song together. And, when it was me and Hit Boy, I think Hit Boy made the beat. Yeah, Hit Boy made the beat. We did the song together, and then we get a phone call like, "Hey, what are y'all doing? Come up to Staples Center." So we went to Staples Center. Ethiopia was there. She was like, "Well, I got these tickets, like second or third row, whatever it is, right behind the cameraman for the Blueprint 3 tour. I'm not gonna be able to go. Here, y'all go. It's about to start in like 30 minutes." He was like, "What?" So we go in there. It's the first time, and mind you, he going over Reasonable Doubt songs before the show even started. Jeezy and Trey Songz and shit all coming up for him.
Yeah.
But it's a little kid that's right next to me, and he walks in with his manager. I recognize his manager, so I say, "What's up, my G?" He's like, "Oh, what y'all niggas doing up here? Clearly, we at the concert, right?" And so I'm like, "We should have watched this show." He's like, "What you got going on?" "I just wanted to bring my little artist up here." You know what I'm saying? Because he's a Jay-Z fan. "Okay, that's what's up." I look down. I just see a little white hand reach up at me. And I'm like, "It's Justin Bieber."
No, bro. No, bro. For real?
I had no idea who Justin Bieber was. So I'm like, "Oh, shit." Like, shook his little hand. I'm like, "What's up, my boy?"
It's like one of the biggest artists in the world.
You feel what I'm saying? I'm like, "Oh, shit, what's going on?" He's like, "Chilling. We watching the show." He's right next to us all the time.
That's crazy.
Early. I mean, he was little Justin Bieber at the time. I just didn't know nothing about Justin Bieber at the time. Maybe other people did. But we watched the show. He rapping Reasonable Doubt joint, and nobody really knows it. You in LA.
That's crazy.
I'm rapping these shit word for word, sweating. To the point where this nigga point at me, and like we rapping the joint from Reasonable Doubt, and I felt like such a groupie. Like he's pointing from the stage, and he's looking at me, and I'm rapping. I think he was rapping. It wasn't Can't Knock the Hustle. It was Can I Live.
Oh, okay.
He was rapping Can I Live, and I'm rapping that shit word for word, hand motions and all. And this nigga was coming up on the stage, and he point, and we was rapping this shit word for word, the whole verse. And then at the end of the show, he looked like, I do the whole camera shit.
Yeah.
With the lights, he shot people out. And he pointed to me and His Boy. This before His Boy even worked with him or anything like that. Mind you, this was all before we did any work with him at all.
Wow. Wow.
Like, all this was prior to, like, we never even been in the same room as this guy, like, prior to this. And he looked, he said, "My guy's right there." He was like, "My man's right there." He was like, "My other man's with the Yankee hat on." He said, "Y'all been going hard with me all night." He's like, "I see y'all."
That's crazy.
We look at each other and we niggas groupied out, jumping up and down. Oh,
I would too, man. I would too. I would too, man.
Forward to we in Vegas with this man having lunch, soaking up game.
Wow. Wait. You having lunch with Hit Boy and Jay-Z, just talking game.
Yeah. He flew us out to Vegas. He was out there for a couple of days. We spent the weekend with him while he was on the Magna Carta Holy Grail tour.
Wow.
The weekend out there.
Wow,
and he just ate. He just soaked up game. He picked up a bunch of games. He was backstage soaking up a bunch of games, just chopping it up about sports and different shit like that. Me and him talked about watches and shit like that. Play the music. We just chilling like.
So Ho's a cool dude.
Regular dude, regular cool dude came up to me like, "You want a drink?"
Yes.
Like, hell yeah, you crazy. And mind you, I just told B Care I didn't want to drink anymore because I had I was like, I ain't ate yet. I was like, I'm tired of drinking, nigga. We been drinking all day. I need to eat something. And then Ho got Steve Stout and all these rich people in his face, and he leave all of them. He come over to where I'm standing by myself, and he was like, "What's up?" I was like, "Tell him my G." He was like, "You want a drink or something?"
You're not gonna turn down a drink from Jay-Z, bro. You're not going to. Okay, you just don't.
And then his boy left, so he come over and then he grabbed his boy a drink too, and he was like, "Let's just toast." Like this whole, he's like, "Let's just toast." I'm like, he's like, "What we toasting to?" He's like, "Life, my nigga."
That's crazy.
And we just toast. So like these are things that all happened prior to even working with these people, and we didn't even, you know what I'm saying? You never even know those types of things are gonna come to fruition.
Yeah.
But it just happens for you. So it's like those type of albums, and when I look at things and just introspective conversations, you just know. Like that album, that and Reasonable Doubt, the top two albums. And I feel like even he would agree. Reasonable Doubt and Blueprint are his two albums that if he had could only put two inside of a Hall of Fame would be
absolutely.
Absolutely. And 444 is a real close. 444 is damn near is a masterpiece to me. But those albums in that time when I was growing up to understand them that way, and you got to remember, I'm the same kid who the first piece of music I ever got was Reasonable Doubt on cassette tape from my uncle.
Really?
They gave it to my mom, and she gave it to me, and she didn't even know who the fuck Jay-Z was or what it was. She didn't even listen to rap.
Dear
was like,
God,
can you and gave it to me and put it in my tape player that my uncle gave me. And I used to just have Reasonable Doubt playing all day in my little headphones walking around.
Yo, The Evils off that album is one of my favorites. Easy. I love The Evils, man.
That whole album is flawless. This nigga was 26 years old. But that also makes you think about somebody like Nas being 19 making an album he made at 19. But at the same time, Nas in this era with that album, niggas wouldn't care.
That hurts me.
Don't listen to words the same way.
That hurts me.
Everything people call classics that we know are classics, where if they were to come out at this time, motherfuckers would not care and they would not be appreciated.
And that hurts me to the core, man.
And these outlets don't give anything a chance that's new to actually be heard or give a fair write-up. Motherfuckers is looking at track listings to see who the feature is. That's why when you see Nicki Minaj come out with an album, instead of them being like, Nicki Minaj putting out a new album, they go, Nicki Minaj taps Eminem, this person, that person, this person, that person, this person. Like, who gives a fuck?
She just dropped the album today, actually.
When I was young, I never picked up the album and looked on the back to see who was on it. I just want to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You remember standing in the Virgin? You remember standing in the Virgin in the record stores and you put the headphones on before you buy the album and let that bitch play in the mall?
I did that one time. I'm gonna tell you a story. When down here in Texas we had FYE, and it's basically the same thing as Virgin. And I went down there and they actually had two little stations. One where you can actually take the CD and you can open it and you can actually put the CD in, but you have to go to a different place to actually buy the actual CD that's all nicely wrapped and taped and stuff. But they had a stack of featured CDs and stuff that they did. When I did that with the documentary, and I listened to the documentary. And when that came out, listen, that was the first album, explicit and all, that I bought with my own money. My mom was like, I told my mom, I said, can I get this album? And she says, I'll let you get this album. Just do not play it out loud. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I get my allowance money out, all that stuff. We go to the checkout, blah blah blah. The dude didn't even ask if I was I don't know how old you had to be, and just gave me the money. I just bought the album. So I had my little CD player and whatever, and had these old headphones. I listened to the documentary from start to finish, and I was like, this is incredible. Like that was one of those albums. That's one of those albums that I'll always like. If I had like a stack of music that I can take to like an island that I have to live on for forever, and I can only take a stack of music, well, that album's gonna be in that stack of music because that album's crazy. Now, moving on to the sequel question that we were talking about, which one was better? I don't know if you had heard the second one, the documentary 1 or the documentary 2, not 2.5, but just documentary 2.
One was
1. Okay. Now,
you know why I always give it to the first one?
Why you say that?
Because the first ones are the ones they couldn't think about.
Okay.
So you didn't get a chance. There was no chance to try to improve anything.
There was no template of thought. There was no template of thought. Yeah.
And part 2 is always inspired by part 1, but it's like part 1 is always going to be the original.
I don't think there's really ever been an album that was like, oh, okay, this was better than the first. Like I really don't remember there being one like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I try to think like, not even Man on the Moon by Kid Cudi. I don't even remember the second one being as good as the first one. Because the first one was life changing for a lot of people. And I just kind of would listen to that and I'd be like, okay. Or the Carter. My favorite Carter is Carter 3. But I know people who always tell me, oh man, the first Carter is always the best one. Or the second one is the best one. People even say the fourth one is the best one. And that's fine, but it's like I don't understand like how when artists want to make, X, Y, and Z 1, X, Y, and Z 2, X, Y, and Z 3. Like, why would they, what makes them go for that sequel? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think makes them go for that sequel?
And honestly, I feel like it's the reception to the first one.
Okay.
Like, oh, they like that? Let me do it again.
Or if
that's pretty much what it is. Like, that's what I feel like. It's the inspiration being carried on from there. And you got to remember, artists after they put out the project, like those types of projects had to go on tour and do this and do that. So they want to come back and try to give people an updated version, more so than living like life in a different type of way, and then being able to create from a whole different inspiration. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you put out that album, you hit that tour, you hit that road, by the time you come back and did everything that you did, it's time for you to work on another album. You didn't have any time to really sit back and think about anything, you know what I mean? Like, and really come up with, how do I want to approach this?
Okay, I like that.
So I think that's like a major thing.
Is that the same train of thought that you did for these EPs?
Yeah, well, because we went in and we knew we was going to make it a series already.
Oh, okay.
The general idea of it was like, I'm giving people 3 5-song EPs and an album in a year. Technically, I just gave people 2 albums. I just broke the first album down into 3 different parts.
So, when are we expecting that third one?
About a month and a half. We only got a couple more records to record, which are already written. It's just getting, you know what I'm saying?
Getting everything together.
Get on the same page and get on the same thing. Yeah, and then at the same time, I'm working on Becoming 2 with Hit Boy.
Hold on. Can I get like the flex like bomb drop? Like I wish I can get that like right now. Hold on. You mean to tell me that you are working on outside of the Intent series? Becoming is my like. That's up there for me when I rank your music. You're working on Becoming 2. Is it executive produced by Hit Boy, or is just Hit Boy just helping out?
Produced by Hit Boy. It's gonna be other people like that probably produced on there. Like of course Hes is gonna be produced on there, like everything. But that's gonna be executive produced by Hit Boy. Becoming Becoming 2, but it's not gonna be called Becoming 2. It's gonna be called Became. Words you learn first. So we're gonna call it Became, but it's gonna be playing off the Becoming 2. Like that whole new start, that was about 10 years ago almost. So by the time that comes out, which I'm thinking next year, I'm gonna put out that last EP, then put out Becoming 2. It's only gonna be about 10 records, all snackers. You know what I mean?
Wait.
Cater.
So you're gonna have Intent 3, which is gonna be coming out in a month, and then the album that you're working towards is Became.
Yeah, we're already working on Becoming 2. We already have a few records actually that we can mess with and different things like that that's sitting there. And I'm actually supposed to go pull up today at some point, but I might just pull up Monday because there's a lot going on this weekend from business wise. I know Hes Right has a lot going on too, but I'm doing the part 3 with Hes to finish out the Intent EP, and then we're gonna start working on Crown too.
Ooh, I like these sequels, man. I like these sequels.
And then we're gonna do the Became, which is the Becoming 2 pretty much. We're gonna put that out before we put out Crown 2. So next year I'll probably put out Crown 2, so we really have time to work on the Crown, because Crown is supposed to sound different from what Becoming sounded like.
Okay.
Like, I know this is a podcast and I'm so sorry, but can I just 1 second put you on? Or never mind.
No, we
My
good?
business partners. I thought I was gonna have to handle stuff real quick. Never mind.
Oh no, we about to close out anyway. Don't worry. We about to close out.
We good. So
go ahead.
Yeah, man, all that shit is coming. It's coming. We've been working on records and shit like that. We got a bunch of shit in the tuck, ready for everybody and shit like that. Yeah, this is him calling me again right now. Can I answer this just 1 quick second?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna talk for a minute.
All right.
Now, as Kent handles this phone call, I'm gonna make a few announcements here. Of course, you got the Astro World album review out right now. As this will be uploaded on a Saturday, it's being recorded on a Friday. You will have on Sunday, I plan on dropping the We Go Hard Halloween Havoc 6 The City Final Prediction video, because I looked at this card, people, and oh my goodness, like, this card is, I have to talk about this card. This card is amazing. We got Chess versus Ishmula. We got Fettuccine 20 versus Jay Balla. We got Steams and True Indeed versus Chase Banks and Hes the Gift. We got Brooklyn Carter versus Dougie. We gonna talk about this card. I'm gonna let y'all understand this, is that I have so much material on the way for this. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait until we can get some of this material going. I really can't, because it's gonna be something that I'm really.
My bad, my brother.
You good, man? You good? I can't wait to get some of this material. Now to close this out, we talked about, you talked about all the Intent EPs. We talked about sequels. We talked about this. I don't want to put you on the spot, because I know the people who work around you are a busy man. So when I say this, I want you to take this from a comedic standpoint / seriousness, because I would love to have this person on the show. But I'm going to do it in a very interesting yet comedic way. Hey, yo, Hit Boy, when you going to come talk to me, man? I need you to take this. If you need to just take this excerpt from this podcast, I need you to go send this to Hit Boy, because I want to have producer talk. I want to talk to him about some of the amazing beats he has made over the years. And y'all have, and I'm not saying this just because y'all have a good relationship, which is what y'all do. Y'all are like brothers. But as the headline will read, hey yo, Hit Boy, come talk to me, man. Come on the podcast. You know how we treat people. Ask Kent. We roll out the red carpet for everybody. As Kid, we roll out the carpet for everybody. So I want you to take this message and give it to Hit Boy. And whenever he has time to hop on the phone for a quick interview, you let me know. Because I want to speak to one of my personal favorite producers. So that's all I'm gonna say is, hey yo, Hit Boy, when are you gonna come talk to me? But and that's how we go in this. But Kent, in all seriousness, thank you for coming back on the show, man. I know you're a very busy man. I appreciate when you take the time out to say what's up with me and you have a little tiny conversation back and forth. It's always love. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate that. Crown 2 is on the way. Became is on the way. The sequel to Becoming. Intent 3 is on the way. A lot of music from this man is coming. I'm gonna put the links to both Intent EPs in the link, and then follow him at on Instagram at Kent Money with the $. Follow him on Twitter. I think is the same thing. So any last words for the people before we sign off?
Oh man, you wonderful people keep on listening and supporting my guys' podcast. Asking the good questions and the good shit. Not all that fugazi shit out here. And make sure y'all stay in touch and stay in tune for all the new music, man, that's coming and shit like that. So I got y'all. We working, we building, we working. Some dope stuff up the sleeves.
Ladies and gentlemen, for Kent Money, I'm Hunter Foreman, and y'all know the slogan: one love.